Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Church in Bethesda. My name is Ryan Phipps. I'm the senior minister. Today is Sunday, January 31, 2021, the season of Epiphany. If you've been here before, welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're joining us for the first time. As we prepare our hearts for worship today, let's listen to some beautiful music from our talented singers and musicians. Enjoy.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you.
Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, how I trust Him, how I've proved Him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust in more. I'm so glad I learned to trust Him, precious Jesus, Savior, friend, and I know that He is Jesus, how I trust him, how I've proved him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Upon Jesus.
Well, thank you for that beautiful music. Again, guys, thank you for all you do during the week to produce such amazing content for us on Sundays. We pause at this time during our broadcast to participate in something called the Passing of the Peace Together. Whichever platform you're joining us on, whether that's on our website, Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, or YouTube, find the way to reply or leave a comment on that page, and let's greet one another now with the peace of Christ. Peace be with you. Well, welcome everybody. If you're just now joining us, my name is Ryan Phipps. I'm the senior minister. Let's get into our topic for today. My children, like your children, are in online school right now. And at first, online school was pretty confusing to all of us, but after a few weeks, my children got the hang of it, and so did their father. Just like in-person school is, the online day is divided up into different periods, each of them with a particular focus. Homeroom first thing, followed by English, followed by science, followed by math, followed by lunch, followed by more classes. But there are also some breaks for them in between the classes. And during the breaks, if my daughter is caught up on her work, I allow her to play Minecraft or to watch YouTube Kids. She was on one such break this past week, and I looked over across the room because I thought I heard sniffling. But the sound stopped, and I figured I was just hearing things, but then it started up again. I walked over to where she was sitting, and as I leaned around her to see her face, there were tears streaming down her cheeks. And I looked over at her laptop screen, and on it, there was a video of someone putting a dead puppy into a shoebox. Startled, I pulled off her headphones and I said, "What are you watching, baby?" And she burst into full-blown sobbing and said, "Somebody threw a puppy into the river because they didn't want it, and now it's dead." And in that moment, I felt a bunch of different things starting to course through me. Firstly, I was angry that a video like this made it past the safety wall for kids. Secondly, I felt helpless because I'm still, even though my daughter is 8 and I've had 8 years to work on it, I'm still learning how to respond when my little girl cries. And then lastly, I felt unprepared because I'd never ever heard a kid in the midst of tears say the words, "Somebody threw a puppy into the river because they didn't want it and now it's dead." At a complete loss for words, I put my arms around her and I lifted her onto my lap and I said, "I'm sorry that you had to see that, baby. Sometimes really awful things make it online." And while I was holding her and stroking her hair with one arm, I was frantically reaching over with the other one, trying to change the video with my other hand. She sat in my lap and she cried for a few minutes. Then the more wholesome video that I'd managed to select caught her attention, and she went back to watching. Unfortunately for my 8-year-old daughter, the image of a dead, wet puppy being put into a shoebox will be lodged in her subconscious for the rest of her life. Now, what's my point? Here is the problem. I'm a tech-savvy parent. I have my own devices and gadgets, and I get really excited when new software plugins become available. I can code. I know why a PNG is more versatile than a JPEG. I can find your IP address. Ooh. It's not that hard, really. But because of this, I live under the illusion that I'm an expert when it comes to the internet. I assume because my daughter's on a kids channel that nothing on that channel is going to disturb her. But that's just not true. Why? Because there are people out there who are smarter than I am. Sometimes the algorithms don't catch everything. What's more, a kid could, for some reason, be terrified of something that other kids find comforting. Like, what if a kid was terrified of kittens? I know it sounds strange, but what if a kid was terrified of kittens? If so, kids' YouTube would be like one long horror flick to them. And so it's my illusion of expertise that gets me into trouble in situations like this. I need to monitor what my child watches more carefully, and that's on me. I have to adapt to that. I have to accept the reality and do the work. I can't just live in a fantasy, assuming that I know everything. I have to change. And this is precisely what our lesson is all about today, and precisely what our passage for today is all about. It comes from the book of 1 Corinthians in the 8th chapter, and it says this: "We know that we all possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up, while love builds up. Those who think they know something do not yet know as they ought to know. But whoever loves God is known by God." These are such important ideas for our world today. We live in a culture of self-proclaimed experts, and I'm guilty of that too. With the advent of the internet, yes, young ones out there watching this, there was a time when we all had to go to a physical building called a library, and we had to hold on to physical books and thumb through the pages and read them to learn something before the internet. There was a time when we had to do that. But now we can become an expert on things in a matter of minutes, simply by engaging with one of our many devices. Replacing a headlight, how to make beef bourguignon, how to get Play-Doh out of your carpet, and how to speak another language. I suppose it's okay to say that you're an expert in those things if you've truly mastered them. But I want you to imagine something with me for a second. Imagine that you passed out and you woke up on an operating table with someone standing over you in a white coat. And they said to you, "You've been in a terrible car accident and you need brain surgery right now. I'll be right back in 1 minute." And they go away, and out of the corner of your eye, off in the distance, you can see them fumbling around with their phone. And in about 5 minutes, they come back and they stand over you again and they say, "Okay, we're ready to do this. I just watched a brain surgery tutorial on my phone. Let's get you all fixed up." Head wound or not, you would run out of the room screaming if that were the case. Why? Because you can't be an expert on brain surgery by watching a 5-minute tutorial online. And I think that in this day and age, one of the most honest, most helpful, supportive things we can do when someone asks us a question with eternal implications is to say 3 words: I don't know. We don't hear that answer a lot anymore in our world. And it would be good if we got back to that, especially from those of us in the church who seem to have quick answers for things that no one really knows. What happens after death? Where do we go when we die? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why did we miscarry? Why couldn't we make our marriage work? Cancer doesn't run in my family. Why did it find me? Our answer for these things should be, I don't know, but I love you. I'm here with you in this, and I will carry this with you. You have my support. And if the church would respond more like that, that alone would shape us into better people and shape our world into a better world. Why? because it beckons to us to peel ourselves away from our self-awarded expertise and to get closer to people in the midst of their difficulties and suffering and trauma. Sitting beside them, not as an authority on the matter that they are going through, but as someone like them, someone who might be just as confused as they are, yet supporting them with love and knowing that the answer through it is to go through it together. We know that we all possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up while love builds up. These are powerful words, and they have the potential to knit us more closely together instead of prying us further apart into more factions. As you go out into your life this week, how might you begin to put this into practice? With your friends, with your coworkers, even with people you run into at random. As a follower of Christ, when someone asks you a question to which there really is no answer, will you stand beside them? Or will you talk down to them and push them even further away from the church and from a God that loves them and wants to get into the ditch with them? As we go into a time of communion now, or you might have grown up hearing it called the Eucharist, I want to invite you to ponder these questions as you listen, maybe as you're silent, maybe as you pray, however it's most comfortable for you to participate in the sacrament in your homes. As we receive bread and wine, or whatever you have available in your homes, powerful reminders that God is with us, that God is trying to get down into this with us, into our flesh, into the core of who we are, into our eating, into our consuming. God is wanting to be near. Let's let that be for a few moments now as we participate in communion together. Amen.
see strength and compassion. Feel like a good summer windy morning. I feel peace reborn again. And the power of your love that saved me from the darkness makes me believe that everything has a solution. Even best to end the way without any direction. No word is to say, love me first, say again. I depend only you. Take care of me and take me to the center of your will. You take care of me. I trust only you, oh Lord. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The power of love that saved me from the darkness, that makes me believe that everything has a solution. Even place to end the way without any direction. No more just to say, love me first, say again. I depend only you. Take care of me and take me to the center of your will. You take care of me. I trust only you, oh Lord. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before we go today, just a couple things I want to remind you of. Number one, if you're every now and then visitor to our broadcast, of course we're glad you're here, but if you would like to see more content, not just from Sundays, but from during the week, all of our meditations, all of our music, all of our worship services are housed on our website, churchinbethesda.org. If you go to the homepage, they're right there in categories for you on the homepage, easy to get to. So please enjoy those if you would like to. Secondly, if you live in the DMV, the DC metropolitan area, and you are in need of food or groceries, please come by our church to the back entrance Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. and you will be sent away with as much food as you need. We don't want anyone to go hungry ever, but especially during this time of social distancing, this pandemic we're going through, getting food can be incredibly difficult for some of us. So please come, please tell your friends if they need a place to get food that they can come to church in Bethesda. If you'd like to join us for further conversation after this broadcast on Zoom, there is a link in the description of this video and a password you'll need to get into that Zoom chat room. Whether you live in the DC metropolitan area or you live in some other part of the world, you're still a part of our digital family and you're invited to join us. Again, that's right after this broadcast at noon, 12 p.m., link in the description. Finally, if you would like to support the wonderful work our church is continuing to do during these challenging times in our nation's capital, there are a bunch of easy ways that you can contribute at churchinbethesda.org/donate. A special thank you to all of you out there who support us prayerfully and financially on a regular basis. And if you're watching and you would like to get involved in that way, you can do so at that URL. Until next week, may you go in peace. May you make peace wherever you go. And may you always be willing to honestly and authentically answer, I don't know. Amen.